Jonathan, are you with us? I'm going to turn your mic on. We are waiting for Jonathan to connect his microphone, and we will be getting started in just a moment. Thank you for your patience. You know that technology has its way sometimes with us, so we are making
Hello.
sure you are in the right place, definitely, Jonathan. Thank you so much for being with us today. We are ready for all the knowledge you have to drop for us from a financial standpoint to be successful in business. I'd like to welcome to the platform Jonathan Bengal. Jonathan, it would not do you a service if I were to share all the different things that you do, that you are expert in, that you can share with a new business owner, but I'm going to ask you to start with this question.
Okay.
A new business owner who is scared to start because they have no idea about how to handle their finances. What is the one piece of advice you have for them? And then you can go on with your presentation, because we want to hook them first off with answering that question that we know is right on the top of their mind.
So the question is how do they something with their finances? I had a little breakup. I apologize. Can you repeat one more
Oh,
time?
sure, absolutely. A new business owner who may even still be considering starting a business, but they have a business idea, but they are afraid to launch because they don't know from a financial standpoint what to do, how to do it, how to set themselves up for success, and to watch out for any pitfalls. So what is the one major piece of advice that you could start us off with to be able to help them over that hill? Now,
Okay, that's great. So absolutely. So I've been there. I started out with nothing and would end up creating a very successful multi-six-figure company, and now I own 3 other ones. But my point is that when it comes to the scarcity, or I'm afraid of, and I don't have the money necessarily to put forth, what I would say is that the number one piece of advice I would definitely say is this. If we're in the business of entrepreneurship, the one thing that we should never be afraid of is the ability and the desire to actually invest inside of our own companies and ourselves. And there's a reason for this, and I'll go into it in my talk, but that's basically what I wrote in my book, The ABCs of Deductions, where I basically spin it around, and instead of the government being our enemy, which is the common message, instead, the government is actually our friend if we're an entrepreneur. And so he's wanting us, believe it or not, to take the risk in business ownership. And there's one reason why. Because he doesn't want to take care of your asses when you're old. So he wants to leave your destiny into your own hands. And so his philosophy is that for everything that you invest in your company, instead of the word spend, we'll say invest, he'll give it right back to you in essence by deducting or reducing your tax liability when you go to file those tax returns at the end of the year.
I love it. I love it, because that's what I said yesterday in one of my talks, is about I make business fun and I make fun business. Wink, wink.
Yes.
So you see,
Yes.
right?
Yes, that's exactly it. Yes. But that's what I would say is, we cannot be afraid, and just know that Uncle Sam, who's the main character in my book, by the way, that Uncle Sam is there to actually protect you and to guide you as long as you play inside his rules. And then we can be like amazing people in the world that pay $750 a year in taxes.
Ah, okay. Well, for more, just stay tuned, because Jonathan is going to give us a fantastic presentation. And based on his book and other goodies that he has to share with you, I will be putting a link into the chat towards the end of this presentation for you to learn more, gain more from Jonathan. So stay tuned. Jonathan, would you introduce yourself so that we get the full flavor of who you are, what you do, and what you have to give to the world? And you can go ahead and start your presentation.
Ooh, fantastico. Okay, let me see here. I got to figure out which is which. All right, so I think this is it. So I apologize. I'm using a new platform here, but hopefully everyone should be seeing my screen and it should be just my face. It should not be my speaker notes. So, all right, so let's get to town, right? So my name is Jonathan Bengal. I am known as a business profit tax coach extraordinaire. And I'm also a speaker, an author, and an entrepreneur. And what I do is I shine the light to financial happiness. I've appeared in over a dozen shows and podcasts, and I even host my own show on YouTube called Naked Tax Talk, where we bear down to the naked truth about our personal, business, and monetary lives, because we know that when we improve ourselves, the business improves, which is a reflection of who we are, and the money, which is really a production of energy, is also a reflection of those two things, and that too increases. And then when you work with someone like me, a certified tax planner, the taxes go down. I also wrote my very first book, The ABCs of Deductions, an Entrepreneur's Guide to Tax Write-Offs. It was a #1 hit on Amazon, and also it created to make me a #1 best international author. Because why? I stripped away all of the legalese behind it, and I basically tell it from a story perspective for all 26 letters of the alphabet for common deductions that most business owners are entitled to, even in other countries. Et donc, si vous avez habité en France, par exemple, vous avez des affaires là, et le gouvernement, ils ont envoyé donner l'argent en return pour votre affaire. Voilà. So the thing is that it was purchased all over the world, which is fantastic. And here's the thing, right? I want business owners, like everyone out there that's watching this, including you, the ones that are starting up, the ones that are thinking about jumping into business ownership. The reality is that when business owners like yourselves, including me, understand the foundation of deductions, we can take our companies literally to the next level. For the past 18 years, consultants and small business owners have hired me as their elite business tax coach. Most fear overpaying in taxes. And so what we do is we help them to guide them through the darkness of taxation and help to achieve financial happiness through my own proven method I'm going to talk about later on today. Today, I inspire, I ignite, and I transform people's lives through my own 5-week program that I'm also going to talk about, designed for you, the startup, the small business owner, to help to prepare you for ultimate financial happiness.
Nice, nice, nice.
So just a little bit of background. I'm not much of a PowerPoint slider, so I will apologize. Like I normally like to just talk, but here's a little bit of what gives me some street cred. You know, we're talking about street cred. So here's the street cred. First of all, I have a bachelor's degree in business accounting. That's a fantastic thing. So I know something about financials, right? I'm also have a master's in education, which means I understand fundamentally how to teach people. And of course, I'm an IRS enrolled agent, which means I'm America's tax expert, according to them. It also means that I'm able to represent you in front of the IRS should you run into some problems with the IRS. And it also means that I have studied literally all of business and individual taxation and how to memorize it all. It's just as difficult as taking the bar, for example. I'm also a certified tax coach and a certified tax planner, meaning that I think outside the box, right? It's not a one idea that creates tax savings. It's not one concept that creates tax strategies. It's a multitude of ideas that your current accountant is not thinking about. So needless to say, that's kind of what helps. I also am a fellow of the National Tax Professional Institute, which means that I spent 3 years further studying representation cases so that I can really be a maximum impact for you when it comes to the government to mitigate and potentially eliminate your tax burden. So I have actually 3 companies, as I mentioned before. I have JB Financial. I did that for the past 18 years now. And it became my multi-six-figure company. And that's where we do all of the official tax and accounting work. And then because I'm such a guru, I created a show called Naked Tax Talk Raw on YouTube. It's my limited liability company for all marketing purposes. And I also am, as I said, created the ABC's Deductions. Oh, I just realized I have a 4th company called Tax Tiger Consulting Incorporated, doing business as J. Jonathan Bangle here, the consulting firm. So needless to say, that's who I am. That's gives me my street cred. But I want to actually share with you guys that this was actually not my story. You see, I was born to a single mother who raised 2 boys on a fixed income of less than $500 a month. I was born into something called generational poverty, meaning that my mother was one of 15 kids who did not pass 6th grade, who was forced to work on the farms and pick cotton, corn, and all the things that you and I get to enjoy today. As a result, my mother would enter the workforce having no educational knowledge and would result in having a fixed income source of less than $500. And that's what the 3 of us, my younger brother and my mom, would live off of. And we did this for 18 years. And what it meant is that we often did not have access to quality education. We often sometimes did not know what we were eating. We didn't know what we were wearing. And we often didn't have holidays because money is what really dictated all of that. So in essence, I really grew up in extreme poverty. In fact, I should, according to statistics, I should not have graduated high school, much less earned my bachelor's, much less earned my master's degree. I should right now have a whole bunch of children from different mamas. I should be homeless or not really well employed. These were the odds that were against me. I was supposed to be a statistic, and I broke through the chain of poverty, which is something that does not happen to many of us born, unfortunately, into not only the first generation of poverty, but generational poverty. That's all different now. This is no longer my story. Now I'm a very successful business owner, and I realized that the one thing that helped me to achieve my success was realizing that I can create more money, pay less taxes with confidence. And that's what this talk's really going to be about for you out there who's starting out, and for those of you maybe that even have a couple of years of experience under your belt. Because here's the old fallacy. The more money I make, the more the government, we know the word, takes, right? That's the philosophy. That's the fallacy. That's the lie that we have been told since the day we were born, and our parents told us the government is against us and they want our money. I have some news for you, Blues, and that is true if you're a W-2 employee, but I digress. So needless to say, when you are a business owner, the rules change. And it turns out that the more money you make, the less taxes you pay, but only when you invest in working with someone like myself. So here's what I created. This is what I realized, Jacqueline, and to the rest of the viewers out there, is that I created a method called the seed method. Now, I'm playing on a word here because you see, seed is like business ownership. It's like you have an idea, you have a concept you want to bring to market, and you plant it into the soil. And just like a really good seed, it will eventually ripen, it will push through the hard soil, and it will sprout, it will grow, and it will become something amazing and big and massive to the point where it will sustain your life. Not even today, not even tomorrow, but for the rest of your life if you set it up correctly. In fact, my 18-year-old child named JB Financial has grown up so much so that he has now contributed to me and my family and has allowed me to start up all these other babies, Naked Tax Talk, my book, the consulting business. And so that's the reality if we take the right steps at the right time towards business ownership. So I created this thing called the seed method. And what it is a strategy that we use in which we help to maximize your profits so that you have more money in your pockets and you ultimately pay less in taxes. In a little bit, we'll talk about the effect of the seed method. So with that, I want to actually share with you guys 3 legal tax strategies that you could implement today, right now. So this is the difference between me and let's just say something like a financial advisor, which by the way, we do utilize them a lot in the long-term financial planning of life. But when you work with a planner like me, as a business profit tax coach extraordinaire, when I share with you this information, like I do all my clients, it literally affects your life right now, today, tonight, when you implement it. Not tomorrow, not 5 years, not 50 years, not a million years, tonight. So if you're watching right now and you're interested in doing the thing right now, can you just give me a thumbs up, a hey, a high five, like, yes, you're in, you want it, babies. You want it bad, and I know you do. I know you secretly want it. So are you ready? Because here it comes. 3, not 1, not 2, but 3. 1, 2, 3. Adin, deva, 3. 3. 1, 2, 3 strategies you can implement literally right now. Right now. Right now. Are you ready, Jacqueline and the rest out there?
Ready.
Strategy number 1 is that according to my lawyers, any advice that I am giving right now should not be construed as legal advice, or it should not be construed as actual legal tax advice. So everything that you're hearing from me, you're going to implement on your own unless you come chit chat with me. So needless to say, the first thing first, are you ready? Hire your children. Make their asses work for you. You know, the number one thing about business startup, and I don't have children, I just got fur babies, but I don't have children. But if I did, I would make them my little slaves. No, just kidding. I would make them my little secretaries. I would make them my advertisers. I would hire them to be my janitorial services and clean out my home office or clean out my regular office where I might be separately located. I might even hire them as a chauffeur to drive my ass around because I don't have the time to be driving to the next gig. So this is important because you see a lot of people have children. And did you know that if you're a sole proprietor, which I know most of you are if you're a startup, if you're a sole proprietor or a single member LLC, and we'll talk about that in a second, you're going to file on a form. I'm going to get technical for a minute. On a 1040, that's an individual tax return, and you file something called a Schedule C, as in cat. And this is your business summary as a sole proprietor, right? So it turns out that when you hire little bambinos to work for you, and there's some rules you got to follow, by the way, it's not just a one stamp, but if you do it, here's what you get to do's. Are you ready? And this people pay me money for this advice. So I'm sharing it for you nows. You're going to hire a child. You're going to make them record an actual timesheet. You're going to record those hours. You're going to jot them down. You're going to pay them, run it through payroll. And then here's what you do. It's a double win-win. So the government says, you know what, Jacqueline, you're hiring your children to work for you. So as a result, you're going to deduct their wages from your taxable income downward from your business income. And you're also paying into their Social Security, are you not? FICA tax. So on the individual side and of course the business side. The employer does pay, by the way, a premium. Did you know that Uncle Sam loves it when you hire your children? And he says, Jacqueline, I got some news for you, baby. You don't have to worry about those FICA taxes because they're your children. And so there's an exemption you can file for and actually not have to be subjected to additional tax. So anyway, so don't just go out there and do it, folks, because it actually costs you a lot more money at the end of the day when I have to undo everything. But I'm just letting you know possible, right? So then here's another cool thing. You pay your children just enough money that you fund. Are you ready, financial advisors? I know you're out there. You take that money and you stash it into a Roth ROA, a Roth IRA, an individual retirement account. Why? Because it's tax-free when they get old and you're dead. And they get to take the money out completely tax-free and it's grown up for them. If you're super wealthy, we have other ways in which we can help you contribute to your own children in a tax-free way and get the money out and go to college tax-free. Oh, and debt-free. So needless to say, hire your children. Stop making them work for nothing. Or better yet, get them off the damn computer and make them work. So that's my word of advice. So hire the children, all right? Or hire your spouse. Turn them into something. Make them work for it, damn it. So, you know, Jacqueline, she's laughing because it's funny because I know you guys out there are laughing too. So, I turned my husband, I hate to be PC, but I'm not going to be. I turned him into my secretary. It's about time that he works and gets paid. So I'm just saying, All right. Are you ready for the second one? All right, here we go. Number two. Number two, and I don't, I'm talking about the restroom. I'm talking about number two, and that is, are you ready? The home office deduction. So listen, folks, this is the number one thing I see missing on people's tax returns is the home office deduction. In fact, I did a whole entire 1-hour workshop that I still have available if you wanted to get into the details and nitty gritty of how you actually do it. But here's the thing. The dealio milio is this. Uncle Sam says, look, you're working out of your home. You're a startup. You can't afford to go work at a corporate space like Jonathan can on the 9th floor in downtown Phoenix, Arizona, looking out central corridors. He knows that. So he says, you know what you get to do? As long as you dedicate a space in your home with no bedroom equipment, like beds and dresser drawers and crap like that, as long as it looks like an office, smells like an office, and you take pictures like an office, you need to take pictures, people. So when you do all of that, Uncle Sam says you're going to be allowed to deduct the expenses that are related to that home office. It's going to be things like the interest on your mortgage if you're buying your home, or the rent portion if you're paying rent, the utilities, the pool boy. I don't know about you, Jacqueline, but I hire me a cute ass pool boy to come over with cute little Speedos, nice muscles, and Uncle Sam lets me deduct a portion of that based on the percentage of my home office deduction, right? Like, hello, girlfriend, you're not going to be drinking martinis watching him clean my pool. The next thing is maybe we have a cleaning person. If you're not hiring your kids and you're hiring somebody to come in and clean after yourself, right? Those days are long gone. My mother would kill me if she knew I was hiring people to clean after me. Well, Uncle Sam says you can, so long as they're cleaning your home office deduction too, right? The sink goes out. Girl, I'm too pretty to be out there fixing plumbing mistakes, so I hire the plumbers to come out and do the job, right? He will help you with that. So don't lose out on the home office deduction. Now, here's what's key. The home office deduction cannot create a loss. I'm just going to say that, cannot create a loss. So what's cool is if you have enough income in there and use home office deduction, it can zero it out. That's a savings, a minimum freaking savings, people, of 15.3% tax right there. That's what that's worth to you. Thousands of dollars it's worth to you. All right, next. I've been listening to this all week long already since yesterday. Ladies and gents, hire a freaking coach. Listen, if you're going into business for yourself, the one thing that we fear is, should I hire a coach? And I'm going to guiltily tell you all that I have invested a shit ton in coaches. How much, you ask? Over $60,000 I've invested in different coaches for different things, from speaking, from marketing, from branding, from business development, from you name it, I've done it. And I technically am a coach too, because I guide my own clients through the how-tos, right? From a taxable perspective. You see, here's what I discovered like this, Jacqueline. Here's what I discovered about every single one of us entrepreneurs. We were all given this gift of understanding what brings each of us happiness. And it turns out that Uncle Sam understands this concept. And as long as the coach is there for help you to take you to the next level in your business, and it is ordinary and it is necessary, then Uncle Sam says, invest in the coaches to guide you to the next level. Because what Uncle Sam recognizes is that each of us entrepreneurs realize that each of us has our own sense of happiness, and Uncle Sam wants us to bring that happiness to the consumer, to the client. You know, if we don't share our sense of happiness, we're doing a disservice to that individual. So believe it or not, hire a goddamn coach. Oops, sorry. Hire a coach, because Uncle Sam wants you to. And when you invest in a coach overnight, he's going to help you to subsidize that. That's important. And here's the thing, right, about coaches and business ownership. I said earlier, my seed method. It takes time. It's not an overnight success. It is not in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, a million weeks. No, it's over time. And someone else mentioned it here today as well, that it takes time and practice and effort and putting forth the work and doing it. But here's what I know to be true. I went from struggling to make $30,000, $40,000 a year. And when I invested in my own coaches, I went to a multi-six-figure business within less than a year. So my point is it takes like a seed. We plant it, We water it, we invest in it, we grow in it, and eventually it does produce. So Uncle Sam says to hire coaches, as long as it is ordinary and necessary, you can write this thing off to a degree. Limitations do apply. So let me share with you a beautiful story, if I may. You know, each of us was given the desire to take charge of our own destiny. And when we did, we looked out and we saw a beautiful siren waiting for us on the edge of the ocean, and we're out there and she's gorgeous. Or if you're like me and you happen to like the man flavor, then he happens to be really sexy, right? With nice pecs and nice arms, or in this case with breasts, nice arms and whatever else the case. And she's a siren and he's a siren, and they're dying, quite literally, to get you to come into the water and into their world. And what a beautiful thing that would be, wouldn't it? To be attracted to this one individual that loves you and likes you and wants to give you the rock time of their life, baby. And that's like with business ownership. It's so tempting. And it's the best thing we could ever do for ourselves. But just like meeting a siren, if you are unaware of the real tricks behind what she's really after or what he's really after, you're going to find yourself drowning, honeys. And this is kind of what like dealing with the IRS is like. If you do not play inside the rules of the IRS and deduct the things you're supposed to correctly and document the things you're supposed to do and work with tax experts like myself, you will find yourself at the bottom of the ocean with no one to help you to get you out. How much do you ask? Well, I just saved a client $500,000 in unnecessary taxes because they followed the siren into the ocean without first hiring me. And here's why. I know the siren's moves. I know that she's gorgeous and she's beautiful, but I know at the bottom of that ocean, she has a treasure chest that she's willing to lock you in and never give you the oxygen. So my thing is this. We don't want to do that. We don't want to start out business and then end up on the wrong foot, because they will, and it does happen. The siren will take you out, and the IRS do not play within the rules correctly. So I'm here not only to prevent you from drowning, but I'm also to help you when that siren does get a hold of you and takes you somewhere else. So check this out. Are you confused about what entity you should be? That's the number one, by the way, I get asked. Are you worried that you'll have a surprise tax bill at the end of the year? That's the siren. Are you nervous about deducting or over deducting your expenses? That's the siren. Well, I have business for you. I have something to let you know. Number one, when you work with someone like me and you go through the seed method, you actually get to keep your business open. You get to let go of the fear of the siren drowning you, of the IRS walking up, shutting you down, because it does happen. When you also work with someone like me, when you work with me, I should say, you also have massive benefits. For example, you finally understand the two major benefits of business ownership. And Jacqueline's going to further help you understand this through her own process. And that is more time and more money. This is the result of the right type of planning with people like Jacqueline, myself, and many others, is that we help you to truly identify where in areas of your business you can get back more time. Well, what do I mean by this? Well, if I'm staying up all night long worrying about that surprise tax bill, like one of my clients that brought $0.5 million a few weeks called me up panicking, knowing he had a tax bill of over $200,000 coming up. He stayed up all night worrying about that. But he called me up. We got him off the ledge, and now he's only sending in a check for $50,000. But my point about this is that you get back your time. You get back your sleep with your family, your friends. You know, how many of us have been to a birthday party or a gathering and we're physically there, not really there, because we're worried about our business. We're worried about how we're going to pay this unnecessary tax bill to a government that doesn't even want your money. So that's what you get in my seed. Here's another great benefit. You're going to finally have the confidence to know the things that you can deduct inside of your business, which result in more money in your pocket. Take, for example, the strategy I gave you about hiring your kids. If you really think about it, all we're doing is shifting the expense. We're shifting the money from, instead of giving it to someone else working for you. And I do have people that do work for me. I'm saying we shouldn't. I'm just saying that when we're first starting out, it's very difficult to have somebody. So we're just shifting the money instead of giving it to somebody and shifting it back to our household and uplifting the lives of our family at the same time. So this is what happens, right? When you go through my seed method, we understand the things that we can deduct, which ultimately result in less taxes and more money back in our pockets and our family. Now, here's the truth. There's no secrets here, folks. If you yourself are one of those do-it-yourselfers, which, by the way, I love those types of peeps, you can actually look up section code Title 26 of the United States Code, the laws that govern every single one of us. Title 26 is where you're going to find over 700 different pages of different tax codes. But it doesn't stop there. It turns out that the IRS issues out something called guidance that further defines what Congress means when they write the law. And then it goes on from the Treasury also sends out their own guidance to further guide what the IRS intended, what the Congress intended. And then if you'd like, you can go research your own United States tax courts cases and rulings to determine how the courts interpreted the laws written by Congress. You can do that. You can go research publication 5 and find out all you can deduct in your business. You can do that. But I know every single one of you out there has better things to do. Like, for example, I know that Jacqueline would rather be helping you to step into the shining star that you are, to grow your business to the next level from 0 to millions. I know for a fact that many other guests, and you too, would rather think that God, the universe, made you to be. He didn't invent you to be looking up tax law, unless that's what you, me, a tax nerd, right? And I proudly own that. If that's what you did, fine. But most of us, nah, I don't think so. I think most of you were born to do the things you were born to do to bring happiness to this world. Let's not waste the time and the money and the energy looking it all up. You can. It's there. It's public knowledge. In fact, it's right there in the link. I even left it for you. Or you can just hire me. We can fast track you. Just like you hire Jacqueline, you can sit there and struggle for yourself, or you can hire Jacqueline as well. Hire us both, because we're both a tax deduction. And here's the thing, right? Like, she's going to accelerate you and take you to the next level like that. I will take you in your business sense from the tax perspective like that too. So here's the thing, right? You can either do it yourself, take some time to get there, or you can find and invest in people like myself and like Jacqueline and many others to accelerate you to the next level. And Uncle Sam loves it. So here's 4 things. Are you kidding me, JB? Like, I got more stuff I'm pumping out? Yes, I am. Here's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, adin, 2, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 ways, 4 things that every business owner should consider. Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. Separate yourself from your business. Separate yourself. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the thing is, to start out, we don't even know what we should do. So I'm going to give you a tip, and just the tip. You started a business. You're a sole proprietor. You know what entity you are yet, right? Because that is a choice. That is a decision. It's kind of like getting married. It is a decision that one should carefully consider. So you start out the bank, and you go into a friendly bank, hopefully, and you let them know that you're starting a business. And you're in the process of developing your articles of incorporation and all the legalese that goes behind it, but you'd like to open up a separate account. And if they're willing and able to open it up under the name of your business as a DBA, right? If they're willing. Sometimes they're not. In which case, you just create a second account, and then you begin to transfer it all into your accounts and begin the separation. Because here's why. In an audit, the IRS is going to take the position that you, my friend, have income from all sources coming into that checking account, and it's your personal account. And let's say your mother, your father, or someone lent you $1,000, let's say, to get you started, right? Because a lot of us out there are getting funding. Let's say that happens and we're lucky. Did you know that the Uncle Sam will first get that dollars as income first, and then it's up to you to prove it otherwise? And I don't know about you, but a lot of us do not properly document these type of things. So needless to say, separate yourself. When we do that through the bank accounts and different cards and creating documentation, we'll talk about in a second, we create these systems to begin the separation of self. Now, the next thing you can do and you need to consider is picking the right entity choice. So it turns out that when people always ask me, what entity should I be? Well, that's a loaded question because it's not a one-fit-all answer. But here are the types in a nutshell. Sole proprietor. That's a lot of us out there who just woke up and just started doing business. Now, I actually did a whole entire episode on this on my show, Naked Tax Talk, called Sex and Entities, where I explain the difference. Well, actually, I did it yesterday with Jacqueline, and I think she got a hoot out of it. But here, basically, in a nutshell, a sole proprietor is somebody who is unsafe sex. That's what it boils down to. And everything that gets infected will be taken away from you, from your house, your cars, you name it. The next entity choice is called a limited liability company. And I like to say that's like a dam, and it protects you, but it still has some issues. And then you can form a C corporation condom that is 99.99% effective in the event that you get sued, and it protects your personal assets from your business assets. Now, this is important because that's a legal issue, but there's something else called a tax issue. And Uncle Sam has rules and different deductions for different entity types. And by yes, some of you are asking, where's the S corporation? You guys should know S corporation is a tax entity, not a legal entity. Again, when you sit down with me, we actually help you to decide which is the best entity to take on. And here's the thing. If someone comes right now and says to you, be an S corporation or a C corporation, and they don't talk to you about all the pros, the cons, financial implications, babies, don't do it. They're just an extra buck. I'm just being honest with you. It takes time, and it means you've got to be very careful when you make that decision. The next thing you can do, and you should do, is understand your basic deductions when you're starting, including for those of us that have been in business for a while, which is why I wrote my book, The ABCs of Deduction. So this is a shameless plug. You want to get a hold of my book or some out there, but begin to understand the foundation of the things that you can deduct, because we end up with a massive effect, which I'm going to talk about. And of course, documentation. Talking about the big, and I'm talking about documentation, also known as audit proofing yourself. You know, if you have children, again, I don't have children, but the first thing they do when they find they're having children is they go out and they buy all of these child-proof things that go to use the toilet. You can't even lift the seat, and you get peeing all over yourself. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to share a personal story. But the thing is that this is like what it is when we have the right documentation in place to the beginning of the journey of the beginning of our business. When Uncle Sam does come knock, you, my friends, have the right in place to fight back and not worry about losing your shirt. Because here's about us. It's random. Random. Now, they're random in the sense of truly random. You might be audited because you did something correct, on the tax return, like you have to disclose a 1099 or something like that. Or maybe what they call a diff score analysis, one of the deductions is higher than the average in your community, in your industry. That will cut it. Like what they did, I believe it was in 2013 or 12, they turned and they did an audit on lawyers. And what we found was that, unfortunately, lawyers cheat. And so it turns out if you hire a lawyer for one penny, you're required to give them a 1099. So there's no way to avoid an audit. Let's protect you. When we do all these things, from the separation, the entity, the deductions, and the documentation, we end up with something called the PFS effect. This is what the result is of when people go through my C method. You see, the PSF effect is massive. This is what it does, and it's circular, it's cyclical. Well, it removes the fear, because we all know, Jacqueline gets this too, Linda gets to, Glenn, we all get this. When we are in the state of fear, we cannot move forward. And trying to grow your business, if you're trying to get the type of clients if you're trying to have the lifestyle where you worry about money, honey, we have to overcome the fear. And the number one reason why it's come to me is because they fear the unknown. They fear being caught. So the PFS effect builds confidence, because you get to stand and proud, and you know when you walk into a situation, you are assessing what you can buy, knowing Sam is going to allow you to deduct it, which we make way better business decisions in our businesses, right? And as a result of that, would you believe me? Because you should, you end up increasing your revenue. The money goes up, honey, because you're not afraid of I am taking it away. That's what I'm saying right now to you. As a result, you keep more money. I earlier, hire children, hire them, because the money will go back into their pocket. And then I don't know if I was their daddy like this. So Johnny, I do you for cleaning my janitor, for doing janitorial services, $100, and I'll do a real life lesson in financial literacy. It's $25 to rent your room from me, honey, because you might as well get used to it for the whole rest of your life until you're gray and old. Unless you set up yourself for financial happiness early, your ass is going to be paying someone something. So give it to me. So anyways, my point about that is you get more money. You take it home and you fill your family's dreams. My mother moved us every month to a new school because we were always evicted because she could not afford a rent. Can you imagine now going home and your children to private schools, sending your children to private lessons? I traded dog poop in exchange when I was 12. But my point is, can you imagine giving your children and your spouses the life that you could only dreamt about? That's what I did in 2018 when I went and bought my husband and myself 2 brand new Priuses, again, hybrid version. That's right. When I to my husband to Europe for 3 weeks on a road across France, he went with me. When I go home and I tell my husband, I'm giving you $1,000 budget for this month to go buy you some new clothes because I'm tired of seeing what you're wearing, he was happy to go spend it and buy it on some nice clothing, right? We are fulfilling our dreams through business ownership and through understanding the 4 major concepts: separation, entity, deductions, and documentation, baby. And listen, one day a friend of mine came in and he said, and he's known me for years. He's known me from when I was struggling to now my success. And he said, Jonathan, what's it like to be you? And I giggled. And do you know what I told him? To be me is to never have to worry how to pay for things. That, my friend, is what we call financial happiness. That is the PFS effect. Never having to worry about it again. So what's kind of cool is that I am just talked about it. It's my seed method, the separation of self, the entity selection for maximizing your deductions and minimizing your tax, advanced deductions based on the end choice. Like I said a minute ago or 3 minutes ago, I don't worry about how to pay for things. So when doctor sent me a bill for $1,697, I went, okay. I gave it to my business, and because we have a special rule inside of my company paid for it. And I got a deduction for it on my tax return. So here's what I'm saying, peeps. Knowing these things and documenting it, because I documented that $1,600 bill from my doctor, right? Because when Uncle knocks on my door, I'm gonna be like, ho, 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 all right there, stop, proof, bye. So say it's the seed method. I want to share with you a quick story. I want you to be like Michelle. She's a client of mine. She came to me in 2017 with an idea on a napkin. She was, like many of the viewers here, was a startup, but she had no idea about her tax life. And she sat with me and she paid me, of course, and we educated her on the things, the bombshells that the siren was waiting for her if she decided to fall in love with her. Now she is a multi-business owner. She owns 2 businesses. She's a multi-7-figure business owner in both of them. And how? Because I helped her to guide her through the darkness of taxation by pointing out the things of how to separate herself, like how to deduct things correctly and properly, how to protect herself and document everything, and more importantly, how to make strategic business decisions in her business, which resulted in losses, which meant she got to keep it, which meant she got to hire people, and now she hires 16 people doing 16 different things. And on top of that, she's got 4 coaches, me included. That, my friend, is what I want. I want to be like Michelle, who came in and timid, afraid. And now this woman looks in like the powerful woman that she is, because I'm telling you, every single one, women viewers especially, and LGBTQ visionaries right now, watch. You guys are all so powerful. So powerful that even laws were written to treat us like second-class citizens. But babies, be like Michelle. Work with me. Work with Jacqueline. Work with all these other information. We help you to fight back against the system that has systematically discriminated against you. And we, through unlocking the mystery of taxation, uncovering legal loopholes, and revealing missed opportunities to put more money back into your pocket so you can have sleep fulfilling lives, night times, and waking up refreshed and heading into a whole new life called financial happiness. And you know what? It makes me so damn happy that here's what I'm going to do. Thank you to Jacqueline. I'm going to give you my book. I'm going to gift it to you. You know, I believe that every business owner has the power to believe that they are worth it. You're worth it. And I would love for you to get my book. I'm giving this sucker away right now for free. It's on my slide here. I think they're going to post it in the chat or somehow, but I want you alls to get my book. Get out there and get it. Because here's what it is. It is not just $1 in tax savings, babies. It's thousands of dollars in tax savings. Remember I said earlier in the show, implement it today, not tomorrow, today. Go there right now, https://bit.ly/free ABC book. Get my book. So here's the other thing. Ready? And I believe I can do this, but here we go. I think I see this. So here's what I want. I would love to invite to come into my More Money, Less Tax Blueprint. It's a 5-week program where we go into depths through my seed method. How many of you would love to know that when December 31st, when you go to file your taxes, babies, you will know what your tax bill is going to be. How many of you would love to know that in the next 3 months, you can, as the French say, profiter de la situation, which means to take advantage of what is going on with you, right? How many of you would love to be able to know that you are in the right entity at the right time and that you are ready to move and propel yourself forward? If you are, here's the dealio. My program is $5,997. Right now, my companies have come up with over $98,000 in scholarships. So we are giving every applicant, if you are a female or if you are an LGBTQ business owner, you're starting out, or maybe you already are in business, you apply for a scholarship worth $5,700. And then, of course, all that would be due would be $297. But because you guys are right here, right now, this Jacqueline, we're going to use a code for them called just your name, JACQULINE. You're going to get an extra $100 off on top of that, which brings it down to $197. Your investment. People, I dare I say guarantee, make that at least 1,000 times over by taking this course. It starts this the 14th at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and be there. I'll be speaking. But this is the thing, right? The thing. I'm gonna be honest and truthful and honest with, open with you, and I gotta wrap this up. To change your life. So with that, I want to thank you all for giving me the time and this opportunity, this magic sauce to you. Thank you, Jacqueline, for what you're doing, because the reality is that we all are here to empower, to ignite, and to transform the lives of the who woke up and said, I am taking charge of my destiny. So with, I wish every one of you to be happy, free of suffering, and to never be separated.
Jonathan.
Awesome job, Jonathan. Whoo, hoo, hoo. We are clapping our hands and we are celebrating you today because that was probably one of the greatest conversations I have ever personally had on the subject of taxes. Jonathan, thank you so much for being a part of the Build Your Consulting Business Now Summit. I'm telling you, it was an absolutely fantastic conversation. Jacqueline, what do you think?
This is what I think.
Oh my gosh, can I please take a picture with you holding up those notes? I want to do like a behind the scenes shot here.
Wait, well, wait a minute. You might as well get mine too. Hold on.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna do this.
Here's mine.
All right, ready? And cheese. All right, cool. If you're not friends with me on Facebook, I better see some friend requests coming up.
Absolutely. You will see that from me. Listen, I mean, where do we begin when we're talking about your core genius? Let me just tell you right now, I am going to write you off. Because that's what you told me to do. I'm going to write you off. And because you have the secret sauce, and I really appreciate it. And I'm going to tell you something. Right now is a good time for individuals to learn about how to save on their taxes because we see that other people are doing it. And well, we want to do it too. Now, we're not going to go off on that rabbit trail, but listen, I saw you post that link telling me to go and do the research. Jonathan, I'm not going to do that. Why do I need the link when I got the plug? You are the plug.
Yes.
So thank you so very much for that conversation, guys. We know we went over a little bit on our time here, but Jonathan was on a roll, and what he was seeding into us for this knowledge track was so incredibly valuable. We know that you are going to have an opportunity to just gain so many nuggets from this, so make sure you are watching it on the replay. Those of you who are watching it on the replay for the first time, baby, buckle your seatbelt because this this one is going to take you for a ride, and you are going to enjoy this conversation, and you are really going to be able to pull up some great tips on how you can save more and pay less in taxes. Jonathan, thank you so very much. Jacqueline?
Oh,
Thank you.
tremendous nuggets, more than nuggets. Those are chunks, chunks, chunks.
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 On my list here, one question I had for you, very, very quick, because we just want to know so much. Now that we are mostly working from home and we have a new home office, if it is new or an existing home office. Now for me, I have an outside office that is still closed. I've been using my home office more. Can I deduct both? What do I do?
Oh, Kathleen, I want a guest on my show, and I will answer that question.
You got it.
I will answer that question for you.
Got
I want your butt in my seat, though. I'm
We
gonna
love
answer
it.
that question for you.
We love it. Listen, I'm going to reach behind me here, Jonathan. I'm going to take your book off of my shelf. It's not really a book. It's not. But anyway, thank you
Yes.
guys for that so much. Listen, we only have about 5 minutes before the top of the hour, so we do need to go to a very quick break here before we roll into our 3 o'clock session. Guys, we want to make sure that you are getting everything that you paid for and more with this course. And I know that you realize with this segment with Jonathan Bingle that this is value added. So for those of you who are in the chat, I just want you to type really quickly, I want to be like Michelle. And if you want to be like Michelle, go ahead, get the book, sign up for the coaching class, do what you have to do, connect with Jonathan on his social media platforms, and baby, let's learn how to hire our children and make them our slaves. When I tell you my kids ain't got nothing coming, listen, y'all got nothing coming. We are super excited. So thank you guys. Take this brief 4 to 5 minutes here, gift yourself a refresh, go ahead and grab yourself something cold to drink. Meet us back here at the top of the hour, because again, every round goes higher, and we're looking forward to you joining us back here on the Build Your Consulting Business Now Summit 2020. Take care, guys.